All right, a very good morning to all of you, and of course a warm welcome. Yes, Samani Ceramics presents the Economic Times Architecture and Design Summit 2014. Before I begin, I'd like to thank our platinum sponsors, Green Lab Laminate, our silver sponsors, MMR, Prince, Shinla, Aploy, Zindabel, Godrej, and of course many thanks to our associate sponsors, our magazine partners, our supporting partners, and of course our media partners. To kickstart design, architecture, something that all of us remember when we visit a city. How many of you here happen to have a smartphone with you? Can you raise your hands, please? How many of you here happen to have a smartphone? How many of you click a picture when you like what you see? How many of you click yourself with some great architecture behind you? How many of you love those selfies? Well, a lot of us here do that, but a lot of us here are also not acknowledging the fact that we do that, but we appreciate the honest hands here. Yes, what we like, we click. What we like, we remember. And that is what we'd like our country to be, a place to remember. Everybody who visits our country relates to its heritage, and we want to match this heritage to great modern times. And for that, great leaders like ourselves are here today. ET Edge, an initiative of the Economic Times, has been founded to empower multiple sectors, industries and segments through discussions as these, panel discussions that we will host during the day. And it is thanks to an initiative of the entire team and of course leaders of the industries like yourselves. World Design Capital 2014 this year happens to be Cape Town. Yes? Within a few years, they've really transformed themselves. The world today knows them as the World Design Capital, thanks to the kind of architecture and the design that they brought. Helsinki, yet another name. Why doesn't India list there yet? Why doesn't a Delhi or a Mumbai list there yet? But that truly is a name that we'd like to reach. To kickstart this day, we're blending heritage with modernity in the contemporary practice is our theme. I'd like to welcome on stage Mr. Deepak Lamba, President, TCL, BCCL Group. Let's put our hands together as he joins us on stage.
Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed a pleasure and a privilege for me to be here in the company of the leading architects, designers and builders who've helped build and shape up the progress of India to where it stands today. The journey of Architecture and Design Summit from last year to the regional events of this year to today have been exciting, full of learning, personally for me a little inspirational, and I would personally like to thank all of those who've been a part of this. I'm sure that at some point in all of our lives we would have interacted with people of other nationalities. And one of the very clear facts that come out whenever we interact with people from other nationalities is they have a deep interest in our culture, in our history, in our heritage. While the interest is varied across various domains, so interest could be in areas like yoga, like Ayurveda, etc. Most often the interest is also around the architectural masterpieces. So interest in the Pink City, the Sanchi Stupa, Ajanta Ellora, Charminar, Red Fort, etc. come from a wide variety of demographics and a wide variety of nationalities, which leads us to think that perhaps these structures define India. Define India in terms of our rich cultural diversity, spectrum of religious beliefs, gamut of languages, and our footprints of influence gathered over the centuries. In all, architecture in India has been deeply rooted in our culture, heritage and history. However, India in the past decade, or little over a decade, has actually witnessed economic liberalization and with it massive urbanization that has followed, leading to the strong need of accommodating a lot in lesser resources. As a result, suddenly you see the skyline of India being mushroomed with randomly placed structures and transitioning from horizontal to vertical. I think somewhere in the last few years, the era-defining Indian architecture has transformed from being unique to a little banal. We are all aware today that the new Indian government is upbeat on reviving economic growth, and I think the one thing that is central to their efforts is the creation of a very strong brand India, which stands as a progressive, next generation, next century nation to comfort our minds of our investors. I think developing iconic structures by blending our vast history and heritage and merging it with urban designs can be a sure step towards achieving our desired vision. Of course, there will be challenges along the way. There will be challenges of policy, there will be challenges of technicality and technical know-how, there will be challenges of funding. But if we work together and discuss optimal solutions as a group together, we believe this feat can be conquered. And this actually was the genesis of us creating a platform like this, the Architecture and Design Summit, where we can ultimately get all the stakeholders of this ecosystem, the government, the bureaucracy, as well as the private players and the entire ecosystem of private players, to come together as a group and discuss their challenges, share what's worked for them, their success stories. We will also want to invite people who've made a success of this in other developed markets, so that the ecosystem here can learn from this and move on. As a group, we ultimately are looking to the subject matter experts to provide gainful contributions here, and our promise is to try and ensure that we can create a platform that is large enough through our media vehicles, whether it's the Economic Times, whether it's ET Now, to ensure that it reaches out not only to the people in this room, but to a vast majority of people outside. And I think as the next step, we should try and see how we can take concrete action points to decision makers across the country, so that we can set the ball rolling in terms of actionable next steps that happen, which follow conferences such as these. Before I formally open this day for a series of insightful discussions, I would like to introduce ET Edge. It's an Economic Times initiative under which this conference is being hosted. The platform is founded with a vision to complement the growth of business houses across multiple industries by providing timely, relevant and critical B2B information, and by getting all players in each ecosystem together. We do this typically via strategic conferences and summits. I wouldn't take much more of your time, ladies and gentlemen. I sincerely hope you have a very insightful day here today. Thank you.